Right. And we are live. What up, though, people? You guys already know Summer Weathers is in the building. It's your boy Brandon Dan, AK Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Shout out to the Lions and Les Stanford and all that behind us. We're gonna have some different backdrops in Studio B soon. We're gonna have the TV behind us. We can definitely play the graphics, corresponding videos, highlights, and all of that. So more is on the way. I know that to our OG members of What We're Pistons, you guys remember how we got down. It used to be Studio B with Rod, Beard, myself. Then Jeff I. Freddie jumped on board, and it's continued to evolve through the table talk, the legend T. False. And you know what? I'm happy now that we're running things with Summer Weathers, T. False in the building, the Woo Crew. Got a new show on the way as well with Chris Platty of the Heavyweights and Anson Wells. You see him on the Lions post-game show as well as Armani Edwards. He's been really crushing on there, filling in for either Braylon Edwards or Ryan Armani whenever they're out. But you guys already know why we're here. We got to talk Pistons. Let me put this down just a little bit. Look, we got to talk to Detroit Pistons because this is one of the most pivotal off seasons for a long time. I keep saying you got to go back to the summer that they signed Ben Gordon and Charlie Villanueva. That's the last time that it was this much riding on an off season. I believe that the next two are actually like that for them. You got Duran and you got Ivy, who are now extension eligible this year and next. Asar becomes extension eligible next year as well. And you see the Pistons now in a position to where they're going to have to figure something out with the money too. Are you bringing in a star? Are you running it back? That is the biggest question. And right now, Kevin O'Connor, he kind of set Pistons Twitter ablaze because he went out there and he believes that the Detroit Pistons could potentially make Tobias Harris, Simone Fontecchio, and whatever draft picks they need, send out to Phoenix Suns, and that the Detroit Pistons can go out there and get Kevin flipping Durant. I've been one of the proponents of go out there and get you a star player next to Cade. And I almost feel like if you can make it happen for that, I almost feel like you got to do it. Am I crazy? Is that disrespectful to the Unc? Because I actually am an Uncle Tobias fan. But you're talking about being able to pair up Cade Cunningham with Kevin Durant and have a true superstar leader for a lot of this young talent.
It's kind of hard. I really do like Tobias Harris. Really, really do. I wish it was a way that we can get KD and keep Tobias Harris, but keep on. But I think adding Kevin Durant to this roster, I definitely think that would be like really cool. And plus, I think he's a huge fan of Detroit. Like he loves Detroit. He's a huge fan of that's what I'm saying. I was just gonna say, like, he literally. Yes, like I think that would be a very good thing for the city of Detroit. I just would hate to like give up like Tobias. Like he played really big, especially towards the end of the season. He shows up but Kevin Durant, I don't know. It's kind of hard because he's elite.
I feel what you mean because it's like if you can find a way to get it done without having to trade away at Tobias Harris, so you put yourself in a position to where you're bringing a lot of firepower off the bench because I would instantly be like, hey, you're going to bolster that thing. And where I would try to figure something out like that is if you're losing a guy like a Beasley, who I keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I do not want them to just kind of let Beasley walk. He was special in the regular season, and I know how people feel. I know how people feel about what he did in the playoffs, but I'm willing to give him one more go at it. And yes, we are live. We are live, people. I am telling y'all, we are live. And shout out to the people for being in the chat. I'm seeing the top fans already in there. If you haven't gotten the opportunity to, go ahead and smash that like button. We just got off Woo Crew, met with a few of the people, some of the other shows coming in, and we wanted to be able to come on here and go live, talk a little bit of the free agency, talk a little Kevin O'Connor before Big D Energy is on. And we're going to be doing more of these lives. So when we can, tap in with us, especially on Fridays and or Wednesdays. But I'm seeing a chat here. Ronald McDonald, 1977, awesome name, says, I don't believe that sets us back. He believes that's cheap. Let's see here. Wall Mazen says, is this clickbait? It is not clickbait. Kevin O'Connor, one of the more respected NBA minds out there, has talked about this being something interesting. You see Stephen A. Smith talking about it. The Pistons were rumored as a team who's going to at least try to kick the tires. I haven't seen them mentioned as among the teams that are of the most interested. But when you got Matt Ishbia, when you got all of the love he's continued to show to Detroit, when you see that the return actually, what it would take to get him isn't actually that much, at least in the minds of some of these other people, because the Pistons are going to take on a big burden as it relates to the money. Mm-hmm. The other thing here is people are saying, do you give up those first-round draft picks, though? So if you're not in love with Tobias and Fontecchio, obviously she wants to keep Uncle Tobias in town. Some people are saying, no, Kevin Durant wants $50 million a year for a year or two. Are you giving him that money? And if not, is that worth giving up the draft picks to get a KD? Because even if it's not just Tobias and Fontecchio, even if they want some of those young players, which a lot of us covet, we know how we do with some of these players. Are you willing to give up those first round draft picks, knowing that if KD is gone after a year or two, this team doesn't have much in the coffers to replace it?
That's so hard. Hopefully, if Katie does come, I hope he like stays longer than 1 or 2 years because I really see like him being on this team. I think they can go places. And then as far as like Tobias, like it would be, I don't know. Him being here twice in Detroit, I think that's why I kind of like would hate
to be here.
Yes, and I don't think Trajan wants to like separate this group. But if it just comes down to it, I mean, I would love to see Katie in Detroit. It's just really, it's a tough situation. It's tough.
Look, you see some of the chat? Hey, read off what some of them saying. We'll start with a few crazy clown. And
Crazy clown. He said this is a new channel, everybody.
He said, look, we trying to grow.
We trying to grow. Yes, tap in with us. They gonna want Ivy and 2 first, and Katie gonna want more money.
I mean, you know what? I think that's spot on. To me, when I first heard it, I was like, there's absolutely no way that they can do this thing with Tobias Harris, Simone Fontecchio, and first round picks. That it just sounds unrealistic and unbelievable. But we have seen some teams be able to squeak out some of these types of deals because the money involved matters. And I do wonder how much Matt Ishbia is going to be like, hey, this can help out my businesses back home in Detroit. I mean, the parking garage is still called UW and parking garage. If you guys know anything, Matt Ishbia, UW, put two and two together. He used to be a jersey sponsor of the Pistons before it was StockX. So that's why I'm just like, listen, man, if there's anything that you can do, Matt Ishbia, we already know you're going to get a bag to Devin Booker, and you're crushing a lot of people's dreams. But if there's a way to realistically do that for Kevin Durant on that cheap of a deal, I almost feel like you got to, even though I am a fan of Uncle Tobias. But I see a few more here. I do believe you, Wall, Mazan. I do believe it's going to take a little bit more than what Kevin O'Connor was talking about. Ronald McDonald, he's not worth Ivy and 2 first rounders. He's a short-term rental. I believe that too, but Phoenix does not have to play that type of ball. Crazy Clown, High Summer and Kool-Aid. And you know what? Here's a name for you. ACG says, I'm high on going hard for Lauri Markkanen.
Yes. I think that would be really, really good for Detroit because he can shoot. And I think that's going to be, it's going to play a really key role in this rotation. It probably will be expensive, but we're going to see though. We're going to see. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I look forward to it. If they can pull something like that off. Lauri Markkanen has been a player that for a few years I've said it would be nice to be able to see him in Cade. When I talk about these players, I think about what it could be with a Cade Cunningham. We talked about it on the show yesterday and on the pod yesterday. I'm looking at players like Santi Aldama. If you're looking for players that are going to cost less than KD, less than Lauri Markkanen, I'm looking at guys like that. But they find themselves in a position where if you go out there and you can find a way to snag a Lauri, you really have to do that one. That, to me, is a guy who fits your window age-wise and is probably more worth the money he would command on the next contract than maybe where KD is, who's getting up there in years. So it's like, yeah, if you got the opportunity to go and play ball with Danny Ainge and not come away on the other end of getting screwed like he does with a lot of his deals, I think you have to go out there and kick the tires on it. The thing I love, though, when you look at all of the different people who are reporting on the different rumors and things they're hearing, the Pistons are in on a lot of these players. Mm-hmm. So that's what I like a lot, is that you're not necessarily hearing this player's out there and that the Pistons haven't gone out and at least said, hey, what up, though? Mm-hmm. And so I like that with Trajan Langdon because they've already shown this front office is smart and savvy and that they can put themselves in a position to go out there and make something happen, even if it doesn't seem likely. That's what I liked about the Dennis Schroeder deal. And it wasn't like he was just a whatever guy who's just going to help the team. He went out there and was one of our best players in the playoffs. Yeah. So, hey, do you see any other questions in the chat as we kind of wrap it up? We got maybe 10 more minutes.
Lauri will cost us Ivy and Asar.
Ooh, are you willing?
I'm not. I don't want to give them. They're part of our young core. I do not think we should get rid of them at all.
What do you think? Star level potential for either one of them or both?
Both.
Both. look, that's what I'm talking about. I believe that when you're looking at Jalen Durant and Asar Thompson, I believe both of those guys are destined to step towards stardom. And I usually say that, and I don't say this with Ivy, because I believe he's already shown some of those metrics. When you look at rookie Cade, 17, 5-5 type of player. When you look at Jaden Ivey this year, he was stepping into that same precipice. 17, 4-4 on better efficient shooting than Cade Cunningham. That to me is where I'm like, you know what? Good on you for saying, you know what, Ivy is a player that make you kind of think. Because these guys, I do think they have ability to step towards stardom. Because when we're talking about running it back, I think some people instantly think about just the vets. But for me personally, when we talk about running it back, I do think about Ivy, and I believe Ivy is going to be a difference maker who's going to show star level potential next year. I don't care what anybody says about that. I'm bullish on Jaden Ivey, and I do believe that the Pistons should give him an opportunity to be able to prove what he is if he is healthy before they choose to say, you know what, we'll include Ivy in a trade package, unless it's just for one of those can't miss deals. But I don't know what those can't miss deals are, like what's available. You guys tell me what's a can't miss deal. Is KD a can't miss deal in which you have to include a Jaden Ivey? Because I don't know. Even a Lauri Markkanen. Is Ivy that is, you know what? Lauri Markkanen can't miss. You got to give up one of these, two of these three, JD, Asar, or Ivy. That just seems so steep. And sometimes I wonder, am I loving on our players too much?
This is really tough. I feel like this is one of the tougher off seasons, but that's what I'm saying. I really don't know, because I feel like if we did have Jane Ivey this year, I feel like we could have went even further. Like I
agree with you. I agree.
Definitely, if he was here, like if he played, I definitely think like we would have been we playing OKC right about now.
You look at what the Pacers are doing, and no disrespect to them, but I'd be sitting here like, but you know what? Just the same way that the Eastern Conference playoffs opened up for the Indiana Pacers, I believe that the Eastern Conference in general is going to open up like that for the Detroit Pistons. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of teams who didn't meet expectation, and the pathway opened up. Injured players, disgruntled players. The Pistons are in a good spot. Everybody likes each other. Mm-hmm. Everybody's getting around. They've bought into what the coach is saying. So you got a team that I do believe just needs a few more tweaks, and they did this despite having some pretty, I would say, major injuries. I think people who discount Jaden Ivey's injury, I think that they're not seeing ball correctly. And I do believe that when you get him back next year, alongside Cade Cunningham, he was helping to bust up not just the double plays that were happening, because he's a downhill player and he was improving. Jaden Ivey improved his facilitation, but he was also a good player in the clutch, a place that we saw turnovers start to pile up for Cade in the playoffs. But what did we see during the regular season when Jaden Ivey was there? He was an end-game option for them. So when those double teams, when they knew they were going to blitz Cade, right over to Jaden Ivey, who seemed to know where to be. Yeah. That's a skill and a talent. My coach used to always say, fill the empty space, trail the defender. Not everybody does this. Jaden Ivey did that really, really well with Cade Cunningham, which was missing. Schroeder does it really well, which when we saw them in sets together, we saw this offense in that backcourt look very similar to when Jaden Ivey was there. But Jaden Ivey will get downhill and will dunk on your tail. He will put you into the first row of the seats. And that's where I do believe they were missing something athletically, speed-wise, transition-wise, end of games. He hit a couple game winners. He hit some big shots down the stretch. That's what I'm saying. That's where I like people who discount Jaden Ivey and are willing to just say, you know what, just toss him out there for whatever star. Like, which star? Who is that for? Is it for Lauri? Because you're gonna get, in my opinion, dealing with Danny Ainge, he's looking to fleece people. And I see the chat is lit up here, man. I'm seeing a lot. Yashuan, Judah, shout out to you, man. You talking about some of these people who have really, really supported. Kermac, I see you in the chat. What up, though, people? Crazy Clown, hey, Summer and Kool-Aid. What up, though? But Yashuan says, let's just re-sign Beasley, Schroeder, and go get Naz Reid. Naz Reid, they talking about my boy, buddy, might be getting 25 to 30 million a year. That's more than Tobias Harris. Are you running it back and spending that much money on Naz Reid when there are players like Santiago Damba who should cost cheaper? He is restricted free agent, so you will have to trade, but he is cheaper. He's due for a pay raise, but I don't think it's going to be as much as Naz Reid, but it might be more than what Memphis Grizzlies can pay him right now.
I like Naz Reid's game. I do. This is
it's still worth that bread, though.
But no, I'm just honest. I don't think so. Like I feel like Tobias is a better, because I know we need like a 4, right? Is that what you think we're in need
I
of?
think we need a 4.
Okay. So Nas Reed, he is a good shooter. I will give him that, to be a big. He's a great shooter. But I don't know if he's like worth that much money though.
I think he might be worth that money to somebody. I just don't know if he's worth that money to the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
With some of the other options that are out there. So I believe Nas Reed, he'll get that money to help a team go to the next level or help a team like the Orlando Magic. I believe, and who knows what they're doing going forward. I know they need to stabilize things, or else it doesn't matter the promise of their young and injured stars. You know, there's going to be a team out there that needs to make that Siakam type move or that Brandon Ingram move like the Raptors just did to try and bolster something. And I do believe that's what's going to happen with Nas Reed. But Joshua Judah says he'd take Nas Reed over Larry Markkinen right now. That's an interesting one, man. That is an interesting one. He says he thinks it's cheaper for Nas than for Larry. That's true. That's true. But let me see here, man. There's a couple more here. Crazy clown. They need Jokic. Not too many people can move him out the way. Hey, you know what? If we could all be so lucky, man, they have a Jokic on our team. But Cade Cunningham was a guy who did put up the same stats as Jokic. The only 2 players that have the stat lines or better that they did last season. And Joshua Judah, I'm trading Uncle Tobias to get Nas Reed. So you got some people who they're willing to let Uncle Tobias go, even though he chose to be here. That's the interesting thing about these vets. I hear all the time nobody wants to come to Detroit. Tim Hardaway Jr., Michael Beasley, and Tobias Harris, they all wanted to be here. How much do we value that? And then I also saw something else, because we talk about the vets. How much do we value that? Do we bring them back? But also keep this in mind too. Mr. Jiggle says we can't afford extending the young players like Ivy, Asar, Dern, and Holland. Someone will probably get traded. So you're looking at these vets who are hoping that they bring back. Some people are hoping to, they bring back Schroeder. I forgot him too. Yeah. And then you're looking at the young players who we know it's going to be tough for them if they're bringing back the vets or if they're trading for stars to keep all these young players, because every year they're going to have multiple like impactful young players asking for their extensions. Not just like, okay, he's an end of the bench player. This isn't like Sasser or Clinton. We're talking about Ivy, Duran, Asar. These 3 players are going to be asking for some pretty robust extensions here. So it's going to be an interesting thing with what they do and how they manage the vets and the young players. Where's your outlook with this?
Who would you want to see extended?
You put me on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot.
No, because it's really hard. It's really hard. Like, who do you want to like be extended?
I don't know how many we can. But let's think here. We got Jaden Ivey. We have Jalen Duren. We have Asar Thompson, right? Are those the big 3 that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Because beyond that, we're looking at who? Marcus Sasser. Am I forgetting somebody? I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. So, and then he put Ron Holland in there too. Ron Holland has a few years. He will be a person they should be able to re-sign, but it depends on how they draft from here. But you're right, man. This is going to be a tough one. If you could only re-sign 2 of those 3, who would it be? Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey. That's a tough one there.
That's so hard.
And you got 2 of them who you have to make this decision by next year. Now, can you bring back all 3 of them? You can, but it depends on what they choose to accept. Does Ivy, Duren, and Asar believe that they deserve a hefty raise on their next contract? There's a lot of rookies in their class who, a lot of people in their class who I believe are going to push that envelope. And then we're going to be sitting here talking about how we value our players and if they're worth that as well. And I'm seeing some in the chat already. Nashawn Smith, one of the supporters, man, he says Ivy and Asar. What are the 2 you would do? I know Ivy for sure, but is it Duren, Asar? Who are you, though? What are your 2?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one.
This is so hard. I honestly have to say my 2 that I would extend is definitely Jalen Duren. And my other pick is going to be Asar.
Whoa!
I know. But the defense is key. He brings a lot. And then the way Duren and Asar, because the way that Asar, he's able to those dunks. I like when he do those dunks. Like, I'm gonna miss that if he isn't extended.
You know what? He was one of your top dunk guys.
Yeah.
Him and Cade were the number 1 lob connection last year. Golly, this is a tough one, man.
Like,
If you see any answers in the chat,
Let me
definitely
see.
read some of those off if you see some.
Ivy's athleticism is rare. That is true.
That is true.
That is very true. That's what I'm saying. I hope they can
It's a tough
extend all three.
Because no, you're not dissing Ivy. Let the people know you're not dissing Ivy. It's just if you only pick 2 of the 3, you're valuing the defensive ability, the playmaking ability of both Jalen Durant and Asar Thompson. They both took steps forward.
Because Jalen Durant, he's a great passer too, to be a big. So it's like I would hate to like not have that anymore. It's just so hard. We may have to come back on that one.
We're gonna revisit that.
That's something
that might find its way into another Swish or Brick, because I know people said stuff before, but I wonder if people's answers have changed. Hey, shout out to Nashawn Smith. He says, "Aloha, Detroit Kool-Aid in summer." Thank you, man. I'm telling y'all, the support means a lot. We're trying to get this channel back up and going. I got some dogs here. You all know some of the faces we've had here in the past, but I'm telling you, shout out to Chris Platty, Anson Wells, T. Foss, Summer, and others, the Woo Crew. We're going to continue to try and ramp up the coverage that we're bringing you guys. And we got a lot more than just Pistons, too. You know, we got the Big 3. We got the Motor City Crews. They want to be friends with us. We want to be friends with them. And we're going to bring a lot of exclusive. And I'm going to give my guy Coach Duke. He is the head coach of the Detroit Pistons official NBA 2K basketball team. And we're going to get them in here a couple times to have some fun and talk about what we expect out of this season. But you know what? I'm seeing Yashua and Judah, Ivy and Asar are once-in-a-lifetime athletes. You're right, man. This is crazy. ACG said, "Summer, you talking.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
We're gonna say it's good. But any last words, man, on just the free agency outlook, the vets, the young players, the Pistons in general, or the NBA from close up?
All I gotta say is Detroit versus everybody. No matter what happens, it's gonna be good if we get somebody. If we don't, that's good too. It's still Detroit versus everybody.
Let's rock, man. Hey, Detroit versus everybody. And like I said, we're going to try and bring a lot more of these lives to you guys. And not just here, but we are developing something that's going to be a part of the weekend content and live programming during the week via the main Woodward Sports channel. But thank you guys for being here. If you guys haven't got the opportunity to, go ahead and smash that like button. Let me shout out some people too. Yashwan Judah, Mr. Jiggles, Nashawn Smith. Hey, I see you. Loyalty3 is in the chat, man. ACG, Ronald McDonald. I'm trying to make sure I shout out everybody, man, for the stream. It was a lot of support here. Kermac was here too. Wal Mazan is here. Let me see if there's anybody else. AC said he just subscribed. Thank you, man. Thank you guys. And Crazy Clown says 100 Summer.
Appreciate that.
Hey,
love. Yes.
Go watch Big B Energy. Finish up. Wow.